I've had a couple of subscribers tell me, you know, take that reciprocating saw that you got there, take the blade out of it, put it against the form and use it as a vibrator. And that is a very good idea. I did something similar to that with my hammer drill. It's a hammer demolition chisel. Same thing. I've got a piece of plastic with a piece of PVC with a chisel bit wedged down inside of it, and I'd stick it down in there with it in chisel mode and vibrate that concrete. I actually have not done it during this build this time, but the bottom walls and columns I really did. This thing the other day when we was using it, sounded like it had a bearing squeaking inside of it really bad or something. It's just something didn't sound right. It might need a little bit of lubricant. I don't know. I just now sprayed it all down with WD-40. WD-40 is not really a lubricant. It's more of a cleaning agent. But let's see what it sounds like now. I can still hear it don't sound real good, but you know what? I'm just going to use it, and if it dies, it dies. I've had this Ryobi saw for many years. I don't even think they use this color anymore. I've had it for many years, and it's probably at the end of its life anyway. It really don't feel that effective as they're saying. But here, there's that bearing. Sounds like it's going out. The bad bearing makes it vibrate better. So I want to talk to you guys about something while they're pouring there. You see there's some little air bubbles right there, which I can see that one's not, you know, they're not real deep or anything, but there's a little bit of air. You see that? There is. There's a little bit of air. I mean, we get just tiny, you see. Every once in a while there might be a little spot that's got a little bit more or something. Very minute. Got another one here. It's got a little place right here. Some of this is where actually the concrete kind of peeled off when we pulled the form. But overall it's not bad, just a tiny little spot like that right there. Overall, not bad. I want to talk about that. I get a lot of great comments. I do a lot of great support. And I appreciate every bit of it, because people reading those comments, we all get to learn from it. In the comments, several people that I really respect their opinion. One guy being from Talisay that sells equipment and stuff over and on the neighboring island of Talisay there in Negros, which he's stuck back in Britain right now. Him and a few others, you know, they made suggestions about getting a vibrator. I looked at them. I just chose not to. I actually had even ordered an electric one, and they kept canceling the order, and I ordered from another company, and then they canceled the order. And that was even back, I started heading back before this build began. And I could buy them in the US. They were really pricey in the US, and of course it's gonna be a different voltage. Didn't want that, so everything I try to order over here, of course it's made in China, and for some reason they kept getting the order canceled. Well, I said, you know what, that's fine. I don't have to have it anyway. So then I thought, oh, I better go on and get a vibrator. And I went up here to the city and looked at them. Everything they had hooked up to an engine. And they were pretty big, had a big old huge like cable or whatever you want to call on it. I don't know all the term for it. I don't know all the term. But the part that goes down the concrete, whatever it's called, there's a term for it, I'm sure. Well, that part was pretty large on there, the part that goes down in there. And going down these 4-inch walls, it didn't look like it was going to be very effective. In fact, I was worried about it causing some damage, because in my 4-inch walls, you've got a layer of steel in there, a grid of steel. And let's say that steel, each piece is a 1/2 inch, and then they're crisscrossing over each other, you know. Can't bend my fingers like that, but you know, you got horizontal and vertical, so you got 1 inch thick of steel where they cross each other. 2 pieces cross, there's an inch. So there's that. And that means that out of 4 inches, now I've only got 3 inches, and you divide that in half, that's 1.5 inches. And then you've got utilities I'm putting down there, boxes. That thing's powerful, and it could hit my boxes and my PVC and do damage it, or damage it or move it. Something vibrating and big and heavy like that, it could do damage with ease, and you wouldn't even know it until you pulled the forms. So I started weighing the risk factor of that, and I said, these things, you got to have either a gasoline or a diesel motor going on them, and you got a lot of times put that motor up high, and they got to lift it, and it's got to have some kind of platform sit on, like when they're pouring these walls, to get that down in there. And I'm like, man, that's just too much. And just look at it. I'm building a house, solid concrete, versus what they call post and beam with fill wall, is what the hollow block standard is called. It's called post and beam. Post or column up, that's all your supporting structure, and beam. Post and beam with fill wall. The fill wall being the hollow block, you just fill the open areas, the squares, the rectangles, fill them in with hollow block. Well, I'm already super exceeding the strength that would ever be. Even with a little bit of air in the concrete here and there, I'm already super exceeding that. And so I said, well, I'm already far above and beyond what hollow block would ever be. And the method I see columns get poured here with the steel not properly centered, or the steel was exposed, and then they just took and slapped rendering over it and hid the steel, and you never knew the difference, and now it's weak, and many joints inside of it, and they're cold joints. And I said, you know what, I'm already so exceeding the normal everyday building standard. There might be some commercial buildings and stuff built beyond that, with a good standard, but I'm talking about in residential. I'm already well exceeding that. And I don't have to be just absolutely 100% perfect. I'm being told by some, get every bubble out. Get every bubble out. Man, I see bubbles. You need to get them bubbles out. I'm very content just what I did right here. Got a few bubbles. We work it out. We get most of it. I mean, if we got a rate of 5%, who cares? Who cares? It's not that important. Do what makes you happy. Build yours what makes you happy. If you feel most comfortable with vibrating the heck out of it, vibrate the heck out of it. But I must warn this. These guys here have no experience of using the vibrator. And they can overwork that concrete with that vibrator. And I don't feel like micromanaging it. And they can overwork that and settle all your aggregate. That's your stone, crushed concrete, whatever you're using for aggregate. If you vibrate that too much, you're going to settle. The heavy things are going to go down. Just like gold goes down and sifts down. That's why they find layers of gold. It's going to work down with that vibration, and it's going to work down. And you're going to have a lot of cream, as I call it, of just Portland slurry on top. And you're going to have all your aggregate down. Now you've got a weak wall for sure. So we're not overworking it, and we're keeping the aggregate suspended all up in the concrete. And I think that's more important than some guys not experienced with using the vibrator and overdo it. And we lose our strength, and we have layers in the walls then that are just pure Portland and sand and no aggregate. So just ponder those things and think about that of what's most important. I make judgment calls here and I just go with it. So save the money on the equipment like that, just like I've saved it on pump trucks and concrete trucks and don't know what my mix is. You all think that ordering that truck that I'm going to know more of a mix than what I'm mixing out here on this ground out here. No, I can see this and I know exactly what bags, what stone, what waterproofing they put in there. That truck shows up here, I have no clue what they've done. Besides, I do know there's a common practice of trying to fatten your pocket up as much as you can. Make your own choices of what you're happy with on your build, and that's exactly what I'm doing on mine. So I messed with this method. I don't really like it. I really don't like using that Sawzall up against there like that. Yeah, some little small vibration, but it's not that effective. That rubber mallet against there causes way more of a shock and vibration than this does. You're going to chase batteries, you're going to wear out your tool, you're going to wear out brushes, bearings, everything. And this one's already wore out. But that's just it. You're going to end up wearing it out to the state that this one is doing that. Get you some good, strong, good rubber mallets. And man, I'm telling you, that's what he's over there doing now. It really puts more of a shock and moves that better than this.